Hi everyone, thank you for joining us once again on Knowing Your Medical Maestros Beyond the White Coat. So today we'll be discussing some of the misconceptions, challenges and myths that Prof. Aluoch has faced in his career, if there are any, and then also some patient advice on what he'd say are the top things patients should look out for in their health and what are red flags, what they should not ignore. So thank you so much and karibu sana tena.
Thank you.
Prof.
Talking about misconception, these can be kind of lined up with the status of knowledge of the community. When I started working as a doctor, most patients were medically illiterate. Okay? Yeah. So you give a patient medicine, it says, take this tablet 3 times a day. It doesn't ask, what is this tablet? What are the side effects? Even a patient came to you and injected with water, he said, thank you very much, doctor, I'm feeling better. And then they didn't know a lot. They had very poor knowledge about healthcare measures they should take, particularly sanitation and everything else. So a lot of their diseases they are coming were highly preventable. Now then came this devil information technology. Now they have got the wrong information. They go to Dr. Google. The patients come to you and says, Doctor, I Googled this condition and I found that these are the symptoms. Yeah. So do you think I'm suffering from this disease? So you have to treat his knowledge first before the condition. And then some of them actually take treatment just after seeing the information on the Google. So the misinformation now, as opposed to ignorance, is a problem, and having the wrong conception in medicine. But on the other hand, the doctors, the patients are now more enlightened. So doctors have to be smart. Because a patient, particularly when it comes to a disease which is very devastating like HIV, patients want to know the latest treatment of HIV. They know this development. They read it, they see in the television, in the radio, in the newspaper, and on the Google. So they come to you, doctor, I read yesterday, this is not the latest. Now, if you're a doctor, you're not even half advanced like that patient. You don't look at your computer. Then you'll be a bit embarrassed. So they are now catching patients unaware. In fact, they can come see. Now they can ask you, doctor, you give me this medicine. What is his name? Yes. I read in the Google that these are some of the side effects of this medicine. Can you tell me more about it? How do I take it? Now they're very knowledgeable. So now they become so-called informed consumers of health services, as opposed to passive recipients of health services. You just say, thank you, doctor, even give me more, thank you very much. Now they say, no, doctor, I don't think I like this medicine. So those are now the challenges that doctors have to keep up to date. And the slightest deviation from the correct knowledge can give you a challenge to the patient. And the patient will know. They'll know. They may not tell you in their face, but they just said no. Yeah. So now we see a lot of patients sit with me. They go and tell other patients, oh, I think I went to this doctor and I think he's okay. You can go and see him. Long time ago, you used for another doctor to refer a patient to me. Now, patients refer themselves. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I think just out of curiosity, does it come off as offensive when a patient comes and tells you, no, Appa, I'm not agreeing with you? How does that go for you?
If you are ignorant, you'll be offended because it's discovered your knowledge. But if you're smart, you counteract and tell, yes, it's possible, but this is the latest. I can also Google now and tell you exactly the right thing. Okay. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so I know now your clinic practice has slowed down a bit, but before you mentioned that you had so many roles, you were in leadership in so many associations and institutions, and you still had to run clinic. How did you do the balance for?
I don't know. It just happened. Seriously, to be honest, I don't. All I knew this morning, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to 4 offsite that morning, run my clinic, and then in the evening, 5 o'clock, occasionally I go to chair and a meeting here and there. Some of those meetings were during the daytime. Some of them took me out to Nairobi, like Hotel and Restaurant Authority. We travel almost every hotel in the country those days. So sometimes I was out of my clinic. I had to make use of a lot of registers, even young consultants, to be doing my clinic. Yeah. So you can find there are more than 10, 20 doctors that I actually mentored in private practice by looking after my clinic when I was out of the clinic. And I was traveling out of the country. I think over the years, I've traveled more than 100 countries in the world easily. And some of them, like the United States, have been there more than 20 states in the year. UK, I've been everywhere. Europe, every single city in Europe I've been to. Asia, Australia, China, or Singapore. Africa, they mean most places in Africa. And most places to more than one city and more than one time. There was a time that every month I was out of the country. I was out of the country. By 1994, I had the card for flying in Dutchman. In fact, they wrote me that I spent more time in the air than the fighter pilots.
That's amazing, you know. Okay, I like that. And then I think, what has kept you motivated despite all that schedule, What keeps you going?
Yes. What keeps me going is my spirit. No, what I mean is I enjoy every moment. Like I have several clubs, for example. I'm also a member of Nairobi Club. I've been a member of Nairobi Club now for 50 years. I go there. I used to go to the gym. There was time I used to play squash in the Nairobi Club. I'm a member of Karate Club. Before I had a bit of physical challenges, I used to play golf a lot. Now I play it once in a while, but I have to use a golf cart. I was a member of Falklands Club. I used to go and, I don't have money. I used to go and play, many in the gym. They had a very good gym in the early days before most of these places had any gymnasium. So I've been a member of several clubs, even Nyanza Club in Kisumu. Some weekends I'm in the village, I would go and play golf at the Nyanza Club. And I was frequently go and take my beer in the club. Oh, nice. Some plum. Okay. Yeah. When I was young, of course, I would go clubbing. Yeah. I had more than enough to keep me busy. True.
Amazing. So I think also what I'm curious about is in terms of, the lifestyle you've led, it seems you have been very physically active and doing those activities, I can call them social activities, have kept you going. Maybe you can give some tips to patients or our viewers on how to just live wholesomely. What would you advise people in terms of their health and wholesome lifestyle?
There's a lot of advice that are not really advice. Maybe you talk about your experience. What works for you may not work for other people. Or sometimes it's theoretical. It's like you go to church and you're wedded by a Catholic priest. Yeah. Then he teaches you how to live together as married. But they're not married. She doesn't know what it is like to live with a woman, which is a so you might as well go and read from a book. I always tell people that live your life your way. Everybody's so different. the way they think. There are a few basic things that you know is wrong. Don't drink too much. Don't sit around too much. Do a little exercise. That is, you don't need to be told about that. You should know yourself that now. Excess of everything. Excess of doing nothing is bad. Do something. Don't do anything excessive. Excess of doing too much is also bad. Don't do a little. So use your common sense. Unfortunately, it's not a very common. It's not a very common sense. It's a rare sense. Use your rare sense to guide you.
Yeah. Okay. I think there are some of the things that in your career you've seen that stand out in terms of health. Maybe a patient would have this symptom, and most ignore until it's very late. What are those things that you've noted in your career that you'd warn patients, if you have this, come visit your physician as soon as possible?
There are two things. First, the patient, a lot of them believe that you only go to see a doctor when you're very sick. Now, the important thing now we should do that. We should not talk about disease treatment, but we talk about disease prevention, but above all, health promotion. How to give doctors for healthy living. I belong to a group known as Doctors for Healthy Living. So it's important that you tell that patient that once in a while, go to your doctor. Not because you're sick, just to discuss the best way to live, how we should be eating, what exercise you should be doing, and what type of screening for cancer or for other diseases, for diabetes, or you should be looking for. Don't wait until you have severe symptoms. If you wait and you've already got severe symptoms, you give some treatment, particularly for chronic diseases. There are a lot of them, whether it's asthma, whether it's HIV, whether it is diabetes. The important thing, or rheumatoid problem, the important thing is medication adherence. A lot of doctors, a lot of patients do not adhere. They're not compliant to medicine. They come to you and say, Doctor, I've taken medicine for 1 month, but I'm not feeling better. I'm not feeling better. We had this at HIV. It was a very sad experience. When HIV drugs were first introduced, they were very expensive. So a patient with HIV would go to see a doctor. If the doctor is not very smart, you take a prescription. Right, okay. You go and take this medicine for the next 1 month. Come and see me. He goes to the pharmacy says, this medicine for 1 month, it will cost you 30,000 shillings. But you only got 10,000 shillings. So you give the pharmacy 10,000 shillings. The pharmacy gives you medicine 1/3 for maybe 2 weeks. He goes home, takes them. He has no money. The next appointment comes to the doctor. He doesn't tell the doctor that you only took for 10. And the doctor doesn't ask him, doesn't query, gives another prescription. That was a mistake both by the doctor and the patient. There was poor medical practice and poor adherence. So adherence in medical treatment. We know clearly that medicine does not work unless it is in your body. Give you medicine prescription is just half, not even half, 1/10 of the treatment. Getting the right medicine. But getting it in your body is the treatment. So patients must take to take drugs serious. Some people don't like taking drugs. The drugs may be bitter, nasty, which is true. But all the same, you must take it. That's the only time it will work. It not work when you keep it in your cupboard, in the medicine bottle.
True. I've had like some patients or people I know, they take medication and maybe it was given you're supposed to take this for 2 weeks or a week. By the 3rd day, they're feeling a bit better. And they're like, nimepona, I can just leave
That's
this.
another bad thing. I saw this thing when I was working in TB department. The Somalis, in the 70s, early 70s, the Somalis were very nomadic with their camel. They never stayed. Now they're settled. You have Garissa, big center, Wajir. But those days, they are just this side in the Manoa. So we diagnosed them with TB. TB treatment used to take 18 months. So you give them medicine for 1 month. They go home. First and foremost, they will not come back to the clinic because they will be 100 miles away they've been working, so they forgot it. And I think when they go home, they find their brother also coughing. Say, the doctor gave me this medicine for cough. We can share it. You also treat it. So they develop resistance. So in 1976, when we developed here in Kenya, TB treatment for 6 months, and I was the director of TB research at that time, I developed a place in Wajir known as TB Manyata. So all the Somalis diagnosed with TB, I kept them in Wajir TB Manyata for 6 months, taking medicine under supervision. There was an Italian lady called Anolina Tonelli, social worker, who was supervising them. So by the time they left the camp, they were cured the infection. And that's what improved a lot of them.
Wow. Because the problem is if you have this resistant TB and it
There's
just spreads to everyone.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. And it was a problem.
Yeah. Do you have a patient story that really stuck with you? They came to you, the journey, you walked the journey, and it really
Amen.
Maybe
Amen.
that's just one
Amen.
Okay. Mind, yeah.
And as a young lady, more or less your age, a little younger than you, he was a bank manager. She was very important. Of course, she was unmarried. He developed HIV. She came here. I treated her in the ICU for about 1 month. And she got better. So kept on taking the medicine, very faithful, because she was half dead. She had been declared dead. She was one I wanted to do with her. Managed herself. She came out. She was so happy. She got a man. She didn't tell her she was HIV positive, but she was very beautiful. Naturally, most of the beautiful girls were easily getting HIV because all the men were going after them. So she got another man who said, he's a juicy one. So took her, they had a baby. So when they had a baby, fortunately the baby was HIV negative. So brought the baby to me here, show me, very good. The baby is now 12 years a girl. She's almost becoming a mature girl. I've been seeing those patients now for 30 years. And they're very happy. They're very happy. They're happy to see me. The mother has not told the baby her status. But at least eventually had to tell the father. But now, they're okay. They're okay. That's amazing. And I've got many patients I've treated for more than 30 years and still following me. Yeah.
You know, sometimes we assume the stories that would stick with us are just doom and gloom, but there's still so much beauty and joy in your career.
Those are your body. Gloom your body.
Yeah. How are you able to go beyond those? You know, there are those cases that really do drain you.
Sorry?
I'm asking, how do you manage to cope with those cases that really drain you? You know, there are those cases that are sad and difficult. How do you keep your energy and your spirit alive to see the next patient?
The cases are the same to me. I've not seen anything that.
You haven't had one that really got you down?
Nothing.
Prof, you are just one of a kind.
If it's a case that I don't want to deal with, I don't like, I prefer to another doctor. I let them deal with it. That's simple. If I reach a dead end, I seek second opinion. One of the good things with the medicine that there's always a chance for a second opinion. You don't have to stick with the patient if it's draining you. There are other doctors. You send them to them. Okay, that's fair for the patient and for you as well. So I don't have to stick with them. I normally don't stick with them. The moment I say, this is not my type, I send them to, I dump them.
I think that is advice that's really needed, especially now for the younger doctors. There's a podcast, it's actually on Instagram, there's a doctor I follow, and some days she's just crying because of the severity of a patient's case, and you can just see it's breaking her heart. So maybe that's something they should try, you know, like if it's beyond you, you can always refer.
Yeah, this is true, but unfortunately, because a lot of doctors look at patients as a source of revenue, they don't want to get let go the patient. They stick to them even when they know they are not doing much for the patient. They don't want a second opinion. But the patient is also smart now. They tell the doctor, "No, doctor, I don't think you're doing very well with me. Can you call another doctor?" I don't wait to reach that stage. I can always tell that this one is going to be a bit of challenge. So I call in another doctor quick. But the young doctors, they stick until the last minute. Yeah.
Okay, as we wind up on this segment, maybe you can just give one piece of advice to the patients and one piece of advice to the upcoming doctors.
The upcoming doctors, important thing is to take your job seriously. Please, medicine is a calling, is a service. Although the current trend has changed medicine, healthcare into a business. But the medicine still remains a profession. So differentiate between medicine practice and healthcare practice. If you're in healthcare, you can do a business. Anybody, even a thief, a crook, can build a hospital and start getting employing a doctor. That is healthcare. Even that's healthcare. But don't be completely divided. Please take your job seriously and with a little humility and able to consult others if and when. Nobody knows everything. And now medicine has become so complex that no one head can know most of the things. It's gone beyond. And then you have to continue updating yourself. If you just practice, do what you were taught in school 100 years ago, repeat the same thing, you'll be like a witch doctor. A witch doctor, what the great-grandfather used to do is what he's doing. Yeah. And he's just perfecting. So as a doctor, you perfect your medicine. The knowledge of medicine changes every 6 months. What was valid in the beginning of last year is now no longer valid. It has changed. Even the type of medicine, even the treatment, see what happened during COVID, how the treatment used to change every month. It changed. That's how fast the medicine changes. If you don't attend continued professional development, you remain a witch doctor. Okay. For the patient, first, foremost, practice more preventive medicine or promotion of health. Do not wait until you are very sick to seek medical advice. You can seek medical advice even before you are sick for the preventive purpose. Prevention is better than a cure. And you must get knowledge of how to improve your sanitary environment. In fact, it is said that a lot of diseases, particularly diarrhea, cholera, and the rest, in African, they occur because the African eat their own feces. There's no way you're going to get cholera unless you've eaten somebody's feces, fecal mud. So stop eating your feces as African. Clean, okay?
Thank you very much. I think those are very key and crucial nuggets that you've gotten. So thank you for staying with us up to now. On to the next episode, we're going to be delving into the life of Professor Aluoch beyond the clinic. We know he's authored books, he's done a lot of community service, and many other things. So keep it locked for that.